Really hope I'm recording. That'd be embarrassing. Wait, I have something to talk about. That little area right there. I don't know if any of you knew this, but I'm big into whitewater kayaking. I might have mentioned that on a previous video, but I have no idea. So, it has something to do with that spot I just showed you. And right here. It has something to do with that entrance right there too. So, before I got into whitewater kayaking, I decided that I needed a kayak to fish out of. I'm a big fisherman. I love to fish. And I was looking around for them, and all of them were either the type of kayak I didn't want, or I probably couldn't afford, was probably the other reason. And I happened to ask my sister, I'm like, hey, you know anybody trying to get rid of a kayak for fishing? She's like, oh yeah, I got this kayak. You can just have it. I'm like, oh, sweet, thank you. And, you know, not knowing anything and being blissfully ignorant, I went up and picked it up. And it was a little whitewater kayak. An old one. Really beat up. Anywho. So I got this thing and I paddled around with it for a while. And I told my girlfriend the same plan. I'm like, you should get one of these too, and we'll go kayak fishing. She's like, hey, that sounds like a great idea. So we went and got these kayaks. And there's a part of a kayak equipment. It's called a spray skirt. And it starts around your waist, and then it goes down and it connects over the cockpit, so you don't get water in it. Well, the kayak we got from my girlfriend had a spray skirt, and the one I got from my sister did not. But we decided to come up here with some friends and take the kayaks, and we're screwing around, just kind of paddling around on the beach we were at. And it was my buddy and my girlfriend, and then my buddy's girlfriend. And then the girls, for whatever reason, decided, hey, we want to go to Sand Harbor. Well, the beach we were at's like a mile hike down to the water. And my buddy and I are like, okay, cool, we'll hop in the kayaks and paddle over there. So we do that. Well, thing about Tahoe, when the wind kicks up, it turns into an ocean, basically. You get big you get big wave swells. And I had a couple come in my boat. And I'm like, oh, no big deal. And I had gone out and gotten one of the emergency rescue kits for like a touring kayak. Again, not knowing any better and not doing any research like I probably should have. So, went out. So I had this bilge pump. So I sit there and I put my paddle down and I'm trying to pump all the water out of the kayak, and wound up getting swamped. And the funny thing about whitewater kayaks, and I think most kayaks are actually designed this way, if not all of them too, they're designed to be neutrally buoyant. So they're designed to get full of water and still kind of sit just below the water's surface. So I got swamped, and we're out way further offshore than we should have been in these stupid things. And I'm trying to like climb back in the boat, and I'm trying to pump the water out, and of course I can't balance in it because it's full of water, and every time I get in it, it sinks below the water line again. And I'm sitting in this water, and if you don't know, Tahoe's cold. It is a cold lake. And when you're out over the deep water, it is really cold. And I'm probably in this water for about half an hour at this point, and my buddy sitting there trying to help. He's like, you know, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And, you know, sitting in this water. Luckily, we both did have life jackets, but that was it. You know, just board shorts. And I've been laying in this water, fighting this kayak. So he goes, okay, I'm gonna tow you in. And he's a little scrawny dude, and I didn't want to flip him over. But he managed to do it. I held onto the back of his kayak. I helped him helped kicking. And I was holding onto my kayak full of water, and he dragged me over. And we start getting so we get towards shore. And it's Thunder Lodge, Thunder Canyon, something. So we're at the shore, area, and it's a big rocky shore on this cove. And it's basically a rock wall up there, and then there's a bunch of rock that we were on that's just below the water, and it's granite, so it's not the smoothest thing to be standing on in bare feet. And so I'm sitting there, my feet are getting cut up, I'm trying to pick up the boat, but I'm so cold I'm just uncontrollably shivering. And like, I'm just trying to get the boat over my head so I can drain the water out and get back on our merry little way. But I couldn't pick up the boat, and I keep falling over in this water that's probably just above my knees. And every time I do that, I get caught between the granite and the boat. And my friend's trying to talk to me, and I'm just not hearing them or not listening. I don't know, I was cold. I would not be surprised if I was in some sort of stage of hypothermia. Finally, the decision was made. I was like, I'm just gonna climb out. And I just left the boat. I kind of tucked it in the rocks, thinking I was gonna try and come back later for it. So I start climbing out, and I told my buddy, I'm like, just get to shore, I'll be fine. Again, I managed to climb this wall, shivering the whole time. And I come up to like Thunder Lodge or whatever it is, Thunderbird maybe. I don't know. I'll look it up. And I get on there, and I don't know what this place is or does, but the instant I climb over the wall and start walking around, an alarm goes off. And I'm just, again, not thinking clearly, and I start trying to run. And this place is just lined with slate. So like, I'm bleeding, I'm shivering, and the bottoms of my feet are burning. And all of a sudden I hear the security guard, "Hey, you!" And I start running faster, not knowing where I'm going either. And instead of going, "Hey, look, I had a problem, I need help," which was pretty obvious at this point, you know, I just took off running, I guess towards the exit of the property. But they have a big gate up there, which you probably can see in the video. And I wound up running through the forest, barefoot, in board shorts. And so my feet were all cut up and burnt, my shins and knees are all bleeding, I still can't stop shivering, and I start walking down the road. I knew the direction, I start walking towards where that little dirt parking lot was that I showed you. So I'm walking towards that, and it's a long walk. It doesn't look that far when I was riding over there, but it's a long walk. And keep in mind, I'm still bleeding and shivering. And so, finally, after a while, I start hearing someone yelling my name. And I look over, and it's my buddy that has the other kayak. And he wound up making it to that shore and dragging the boat up the dirt path. It's like, well, now what? We don't have a phone. We're in board shorts, everything. So we start trying to flag people down. People are flipping us off, yelling at us, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And we're trying to wave someone down to use their phone. Finally, this group of girls in an SUV pulls up, like from Australia or something. And then I'm a terrible boyfriend, and I didn't know my girlfriend's phone number, but my buddy did. So we were able to call them, and they finally picked up, and they rescued us. And after that day, we finally get everyone back together. We get the one boat and paddle loaded up. And they were like, well, that was kind of shitty. Now what? But the end of the story does not end there. Wanted my kayak back, or at least another one. So I go on Craigslist, and the very first one, someone's trying to sell my kayak that I lost. And I know it was mine because it was this ugly yellow beat up kayak, and it had a purple like fiberglass patch on it. And so I emailed the person, I'm like, hey, yeah, and I made up this story about it getting stolen because, you know, well, I don't want to tell the truth about how stupid I am. And they agreed to meet with me, and they asked if I had a picture of the kayak, and I actually did have a picture of the kayak, and you could see the purple patch on it, and it was no questions asked. They're like, okay, cool. And apparently one of the groundskeepers at that building had found the kayak, and they were worried that somebody was going to be inside of it upside down. But yeah, got my kayak back, didn't die of hypothermia, didn't bleed out. I guess it was a good day.